Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews. And today we are celebrating 40 years of Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good by Megadeth. So, it's been a while since we've done anniversary review, but we are celebrating the debut album from Megadeth, released 40 years ago, which is crazy considering, the band recently announced they are ending with one last album, so we thought, let's go back to the start.
Yeah.
And see how we got here. Now, I guess I'll open it up and say that this album is like a really big stamp in thrash metal.
Of course.
I mean, Megadeth's one of the big four, obviously. But I say this because of the way that this band was created and the way that this album was kind of, what went into making this album really makes it something else.
Yeah.
Because obviously Dave was kicked out of Metallica. Oh, I'm gonna make my own band. He makes Megadeth.
It's almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes kind of story.
Yeah, but what I found really interesting though is, I'm listening to this album all week, it's having fun. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll listen to some more Megadeth because turns out listening to a bunch of Megadeth puts me in the mood for Megadeth.
Yeah.
So I put on Peace Sells and I instantly found that, wow, Peace Sells so different. I feel like with that record, they found what the band's character was. This record is a little different in that sense because I think it's mainly kind of a response record, but not just like I'm gonna make my own Kill 'Em All. It's more so I'm gonna do what I was trying to do with this band with my own band, and he did it with this record. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, headspace-wise for Dave, but performance-wise, and I'll talk about this in my bit, I think it lacked a little bit.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, that's another big thing. You can feel it. You can feel the aggression. You can feel the anger, even though these songs aren't specifically about what he's angry about, really. But you can feel it in there because it's there. And I think any kind of art that has genuine emotion or genuine feelings behind the creation, whether it's topical or not to those feelings, you're gonna feel it. That's just how genuine expression goes.
Yeah.
And you have a sense for it and you can feel that. And I think that's super duper awesome. So, it's a genuine article of its time, which has gotten remastered twice, by the way. I remember hearing, because I hadn't listened to this album that much before, checking it out for this review, but I remember hearing people say, oh, the mix is trash. So I was expecting it to be rough. I'm like, it's really not. And I mainly listened to the 2002 remaster for the purpose of this review, but I did check out the original to see what it sounded like. I'm like, this is not that bad at all. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm trying to find, is it this? So now on this remaster version, there's a few demo versions of tracks, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting.
I didn't listen to the demos, but...
At all?
No.
Because I know, we're not counting them for the review, of course, but I was just curious.
Yeah.
Right? And I listened, and they are pretty rough sounding, but that's what a demo is.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought people were saying this album sounded like. I'm like, it doesn't sound like that at all. Even the original does not. Anyway, I think there's a really cool bite to it because of that aggression. I think knowing the context of Dave basically being pissed off and really, putting his all into that, really gives it a chip on the shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool. I know they spent half the budget for this album on drugs and booze, but it still does not sound as rough as you would expect. So let's talk about some songs.
Sure.
And let's just right out the gate go with that song, Mechanics.
Okay.
Which is the Four Horsemen, but what the original intention was with that song. Because Dave wrote that, and then when he was kicked out, they kind of reworked it into what became the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
I personally like Mechanics more, maybe just because it's faster. It's a more just intense, fun, kind of driving version of it. Not to say I don't like the Four Horsemen, I just personally like Mechanics a little more. And I think that, it's... I might be a little bit more, have a bit of a preference to it because I heard that before I heard the Four Horsemen. Because when I first checked out Megadeth, my dad bought the Back to the Start compilation, which I think had that song on it. So I loved that when I heard it on this compilation record. So then when I found out, oh, this was, when I learned all that, it's just this was the one I heard first. So I feel like that is just kind of what I naturally enjoyed more because it was first for me.
Fair. Yeah, I actually heard Four Horsemen first, but when I heard Mechanics, I was like, it felt like an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just felt like, okay, these guys mean, like, Four Horsemen's a good song. Mechanics is just like, it's like Four Horsemen, but like on a little bit of like adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of a kick, like a bit of steroids or something, however you want to put it. That's how I took it. And so I kind of liked it better, even though it was the second one I heard. It was, came after. But this band for Megadeth's first album, it says a lot about the thrash genre and how it started and stuff like that. Obviously, they weren't the first because of the whole stuff that happened and everything like that, but Dave was there at the beginning. And what I was mentioning earlier about Dave being in the headspace, but instrumentally, musically, not quite being there, the reason I say that is because on Kill 'Em All, Dave wrote a lot of the leads for that album. The lead riffs, the solos, all that stuff. And he's credited for it on several songs. Those, on Kill 'Em All, his work is phenomenal. I think he takes a step back on this album. I don't really like any of the solos on this album. They're fine, they're decent, but none of them are like killer. You know what I mean? And some of the stuff on Kill 'Em All is killer. Like just nasty stuff that's ear melting. And I don't know why, just a couple years apart, he couldn't not even play to par, but up his game and be like, okay, screw Metallica, we're gonna even take it a step further. Now, later on in Megadeth's career, they do that.
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine plays some phenomenal solos, some of the best solos you'll ever hear. But on this specific album, I think that the solo section lacks, and even riff-wise, there's not a lot of riffs that are just totally memorable. I think the most memorable thing about this album is Dave's vocal performance and just the song structures and the catchiness of the choruses and just the way he screams, like in Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, just the way he starts screaming the name of the song, the double bass kicks on, just the whole thing just sounds like gold. And it's just, it really does feel like it was Dave saying, this is my revenge album. Like, screw you guys, you made a mistake. I'm gonna show you how it's done. And I think he put a nice big stamp on the thrash scene by recording this album like that. So to talk about, I guess, we didn't really talk about songs we like and don't like.
Yeah, well, I just kind of start with Mechanics there. You mentioned the title track. I love that song a lot. I do think it is
definitely a highlight.
One of the absolute best on the record.
Yeah.
Everything you said about it, I agree with.
Yeah.
I really love that, and a few songs do this on this record where it's like, you got the kick-ass energy stuff, and then it also switches up into a slower groove, which is just sick kind of jam.
Yeah.
A few songs on this record do that, and I love that, and I thought that was super duper awesome. But and I can say the same thing for The Skull Beneath the Skin. Like everything I love about the title track, I love about that song too. Like they both, you know what I mean? I have the same compliments for both tracks.
The Skull Beneath the Skin I thought was a really good song too, and it has, the intro bit reminded me a bit of Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. Like I feel like that kind of can get played in there. But also later on in the song, there's parts that reminded me of Immortal Corruptor by Gwar, which was released in 2001, so I just wonder if Gwar had some Megadeth influence when they were writing their stuff.
If you think about it, Gwar's roots come from punk, and I guess thrash kind of came a little bit from punk too, so it could be.
Gwar's a very thrashy punk band. So
yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Right? So I'd say that their influence is definitely in that, it's all in the same vein.
Yeah.
It's all in the same vein anyway, so when you hear a comparison like that, it's hard to not wonder, I wonder if they heard that and thought, that was pretty cool, or just internal reference and thought, I'm gonna play this beat, not even realizing that they're playing it because they loved a song that they heard from Megadeth years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? So, Skull Beneath the Skin, just awesome song, still.
So, what do you think of the cover? There's a cover on this album of these boots.
Okay, so I think the cover's good, and I think the cover's interesting because it's a cover of what I would consider a country song. Some people might not consider it a country song. I think, to me, it sounds like a country song. I don't even know if you'd call it a theory, but a lot of people say, okay, metal derived from the blues, correct. It derived from classical music, correct. It derived from jazz, correct. All those things are correct. I've made claim before that country music should have some credit in there too. And I've had people oppose that view and tell me I'm wrong. And I don't think I am. And I think this is a good example of why that makes sense. Megadeth covered a country song, and there's other bands that have done that too. Dragon Force has covered Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. All That Remains covered Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks. Jeff Walker from Crisis did an entire country album covers album. So I feel like a lot of metal artists, especially the old head metal artists, the guys that have been playing since the 80s and 90s, they grew up listening to country as well in their parents' house and stuff like that. So it's definitely an influence on them. Whether you can say it's musically derivative, that might be a bit of a push, but influentially, is that a word? I think it definitely has some legs there. And I think this song is an example of that. Is it a good cover? Yeah, I think it's a good cover. The song rocks, it's fun to listen to. It's not a one-to-one cover. He takes a spin with some different lyrics and stuff like that. Even the title of the song is just called These Boots, when the original was These Boots Are Made for Walking. So he takes a little bit of liberty by changing things up and kind of making it a little bit more unique and original. But fun song nonetheless. I thought it was a good way to close the album. Well, it closes the album on the Spotify list. On the original, it was the last track of side A on the record.
Which is still the closing of the first half. So I think either way, whether you're closing side A of the record or if you're closing the album, I think it's a really, really good way to close it as this kind of fun way to end it. I think it's a really cool and original take on such a song.
Yeah.
Because it's like you'll have a cover and it's either like pretty close to one-to-one or it's a completely new take on it. Mm-hmm. This is a completely new take on it, and I think it's really fun.
So I'm ready to rate it, I think.
I mean, I guess I got one more song I got notes for.
Okay, go for it.
So I guess I'll mention that. Last Rites, Love to Death. I think it's a really good intro to the album. Kind of find the part that is Last Rites, which is the piano, a little odd way to start an album like this. Mm-hmm. Like just when you hit play to hear the piano like that, like what's going on, you know? And then you got like, crazy thrash. Yeah. But I do still think, you know, you could say like it adds a unique charm and a unique piece to this album.
Especially in 1985.
True.
Right? If you consider it like in today's day, a lot of bands do a lot of things to start their albums. But back then, it was a little bit more unheard of. Not completely. Like we'd already gone through multiple decades worth of music that was progressing and stuff like that.
But like if we're talking like Bay Area thrash or just thrash metal in the mid 80s, that's not common to do it like that, you know? No. At least I don't think so.
Nothing comes to mind.
Yeah. So you make a good point there, but I do think it is a good way to start the album.
I agree. So rating the album. So I think this is a good album. It's a lot of fun to listen to. There's a lot of strong tracks, and I think it definitely helped cement thrash as a strong, solid genre, one of the four main pillars of metal, and you know, it's just good through and through. I love the vocal layering on here. I think it's really well done. I like Dave hits some nice sustained notes. He's not the greatest singer. I'm not gonna fake it. He doesn't have the greatest voice, but he's got an acquired taste. He's got a uniqueness to him, and I think that they mix and master the album well enough, especially with the vocal layering and things like that, that just actually make it sound good and in a unique way. Because a lot of thrash singers, to me, sound pretty samey. Just a lot of kind of yelly type of vocals. Dave Mustaine definitely stands out in that bunch. Rattlehead is the best song in the album. To me, this is the embodiment of what a thrash song should be. It's just such a good, fun song. Even lyrically, it's an embodiment of thrash metal.
Yeah.
My hang up with the album is, despite it having a few really strong parts here and there, I think I have a problem listening to it in 2025 after 40 years of other albums that have progressed further and further and impressed me more and more. Listening to this now, it had a hard time impressing me. And there's nothing bad I can say about it, but there's only a few really great things I can say about it. So I did my tally, I added up all my scores for all the tracks, and I'm pissed off because it landed, and I stay true to what the score lands at. It's a 7.5 for me, which is, if you don't know, it's a half point shy of a toe tag, which is anything from an 8 and above. So for me, it's not gonna get a toe tag, but it's just on the doorstep, and that's how my cookie crumbled this week.
Well, I think it's a great album. I think it establishes or just reaffirms the foundations of this genre as it was developing. You can feel the energy in it because it's genuine. I think, there's a lot of fun tracks on there that I do think still hold up today. Mm-hmm. And, it's even got some fun creative aspects like the cover. I do think that's pretty cool. That being said, it is pretty short, only 8 tracks. So
31 minutes, yeah.
It's you really got to make the most of what you got. And even though there's a lot of really fun stuff, there are some songs that either are kind of like, there's not that much that kind of came and went, and there's some that are like good but not elite tier. And I know Megadeth is a band that can make many elite tier songs. They're on the 2 toe tag list with 2 of their other albums.
Yeah.
So for me, unfortunately, unfortunately, it also lands at a 7.5.
Ooh. I was wondering if you were going to toe tag it or not.
It was tough. Some of the songs were hard to rate. Still a great album. We both enjoyed it quite a bit. Just 0.5 off from each of us to make it to toe tag range. However, I'd say Megadeth has a very good track record on this channel considering 2 albums have 2 toe tags, and this is just on the doorstep. And I guess we'll have to see.
They got another album coming.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely be checking it out. So they could land on the toe tag list for a 3rd time. It's possible, but we'll see.
Anyway, guys, that's all we got for you today. Remember to like this video if you like. Tell us in the comments below, what do you think of this album 40 years later? Does it compare to their other stuff or not? We love to hear what you guys have to say. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
I'm by myself.
And keep the horns up.